Hello, I'm just going to be walking you through using my Pokemon Form Insertion Tool today. You're going to want the Pokemon Form Insertion Tool, of course. You're going to want PK3DS. Um, you're going to want to open up the Pokemon Form Insertion Tool. I'm going to assume that you know about how to extract your ROM and all that, and have all the files there. Um, you're going to first want to use the unpack feature here. And use it to unpack the four GARCs for the model's personal level up and evolution. If you don't know where they are, you can, and after you select your game and you select one of these options here, it will pop up at the top of the window what GARC you're looking for that game. For example, here it's the personal GARC for Ultra Sun Ultra Moon is an A017. For these three GARCs, personal level up, and evolution, you're going to want to extract those. Normally, just drag the GARC folder into this top box in PK3DS's extractor. I do recommend you set up a different folder that's not in the ROMFS structure to handle all of this, just so you keep that clean and you have everything nice and separated and organized. I actually keep the model files in its own folder just because that has to have all these other files, for all of the extracted textures and such that I've been working on. So you can see that's just a lot to keep organized there. So when you extract the model file, you're going to want to hold down Control as you drag that onto this box. That will cause PK3DS to not decompress the files when it extracts them. This is for two reasons. One is that just out of convenience, when you're only really going to want to extract the specific texture or model files that you're actually going to be editing, and decompressing and then recompressing everything just takes a while. Also, decompressing changes the entire structure of the model header file, and I wrote my program before I realized that. So at some point, I'm going to update it to handle the different structure that it has when it's decompressed, but until then it will only work with the compressed extracted version. So do hold down Control when you extract the model file. I don't think it actually matters for the other files. I don't think that they even have a difference between compressed or not. Okay, so once that's all done, so once you've loaded these four, all of these fields down here will populate. I'll just run through that quickly just so you can see. 7G, level up. See, once you hit, it uses the personal, it actually has a bunch of internal tables, so it will load off of the personal GARC and populate everything with names. The models use a different structure, and they have things that, and they have essentially Pokemon there that the the actual personal GARC only has unique Pokemon data. But here, for example, there's 3 Venusaurs, even though there's only 2 personals, the base form and the Mega, because this Venusaur over here is actually the female specific model for the gender difference thing. If you are loading a file set that you've previously inserted to manually, or that you just don't have the CSV for because you're coming from an older version of this program, it will initially load just with these number designations. It'll show up here too. Let's see, see that's Venusaur 1. The lists over here will match what's in PK3DS. For example, Venusaur 1 in PK3DS is Mega Venusaur. Here it's not going to match up. There's not really any way around that. If you are loading a fresh file set, it will populate with the default names so these would all show up like Venusaur, Venusaur female, Venusaur mega. Once you have all this set up, you're going to want to hit create and reset CSV, and then save the CSV file. Choose some file path for that. And then you're going to want to hit save your config in CSV. That will prompt you to save a little config file that will remember all your file paths. So you can kind of keep turning this program on and inserting more Pokemon without having to go through all of that again. Once all of this is set up, you're set. So I'm just actually going to load, config, and grab and grab my where did I put that? And just grab my existing stuff. So let's see. Let me make sure that loaded correctly. Okay, for some reason, what I haven't I have some line that's not quite right somewhere when you first load from your config file and it loads your CSV. For some reason, it will first not display the names in these three columns. You'll have to like just type something in and then delete it, and it will refresh. I'm trying to figure out why it's doing that. Hopefully I'll figure it out and fix that. Until then, you'll just have to go back and forth to make that work. Do note that for reasons I do not understand either, before you do that refresh, it will not work. It will just crash if you try and insert anything. If you're seeing this in the future, hopefully I fixed that. So in this example, I'm just going to be inserting a new form for Florges, which I've been saving to here. So this Florges is going to be an evolution of specifically the eternal flower Florges. So I'm going to be using the Florges model just with a texture edit for this. So I'm going to leave the same as species thing checked here. For each of these columns, leaving that checked ignores whatever is down here, and it will just insert the new Pokemon using all four of the data from these four locations of whatever the form 0 of the species is. You can select, of course, a different species, like, and I could, set up this new Florges form to use Bulbasaur's model, Squirtle's, data, Charmander's level up, and Pidgey's evolutions. This is, most of these you're never actually going to probably need to use. It's there for the edge cases. So in this case, I'm actually going to be copying from the Eternal Flower Floet. Level up, let's also grab Eternal Flower Floets. Okay, probably need to refresh here too. Eternal evolution path is going to be the same. So once you've selected everything you want, you're going to hit insert form. You're going to see a whole bunch of stuff show up here. It's going to just run through this. Number of species. It's going to tell you that it's looking for the first space to write to. It's going to find the new location. In this case, it's going to move a lot of stuff around. So after this float is not going to be where it started if I did this right. Because see right now the Florges forms are I hope we didn't screw this up because Florges forms are weird. It might have to move stuff around. For example, if I had added a new float form, it would have actually had to move these all the way to the end because the personal data has to be contiguous. So at this point, if you've gotten to this point, everything should be fine. You might want to just check your CSV and make sure that updated correctly. I've been having some minor glitches with writing to that, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but it seems to have worked this time. So I'm just going to search for Florges and see where that ended up and make sure everything looks okay. And you can see that we have a new Florges form here. This is the new personal data location at 1057. This is the model. This is just like the number model said it is. You can see that it's a 5 here because I haven't put in a name yet. And these are the actual files that, these are the file names of its model and texture and so on. So this is the model, texture, shiny texture. Those are the three you're basically always going to be working with. So I'll just update that, save, and close. And that's everything. I can close this now. That's done. So the next step is going to be to recompile these three things. You're going to move them back into, these you just drag, and now you drag each of these into this box here that recompiles them into Gark into their original Garks. You replace the original Garks in the ROMFS structure at the appropriate place. You're going to want to close PK3DS after you have to close and reopen PK3DS just, for that to take. It really doesn't like it when you update the personal file. If you replace a personal file while it's open, it will sometimes get confused and sometimes just like overwrite what you just pasted in from what it's holding in memory. And then when you open up PK3DS, if everything went right, which it should have done, you'll see your new forms listed at the end. They'll be inserted somewhere after the last. They'll usually be inserted somewhere after the last. If you previously had to shuffle other stuff forward to insert, if I say I wanted to insert like a Wiglet and Wug trio as alternate Diglett forms 2, it would have had to move these to the end, and there would be free space here. So if I insert something else, it might use that. But the CSV will have all of those file locations, and then you're good to go. The only, you just need to go to your personal data and edit that and the evolution and level up as you desire. The model files, you don't need to update into your, you don't need to recompile that. You don't need to recompile that and add it into your ROMFS structure until and unless you make custom model or texture edits for them. That's because the way that the game actually functions is that if it can't find the model file for the Pokemon it's looking for, it will just default to using whatever the form 0 of that species is. So it won't crash, it will function, it will just, be a cosmetic missing piece there. So you can implement the Pokemon, game function wise, and, work on the texture edits, which honestly take the most time of all. More so, I have at this point, they've added 70-ish forms, and I've only done the texture edits for half of them, so that's the way it is. I believe that should be everything. The only other thing I want to mention is that I do like saving a backup copy of my CSV file, just because it is possible to accidentally overwrite it or something, and that can be very annoying if you already put in all your custom formatting. Now you need to go and do it again. And hopefully that explains how to use this program. I do hope plans to get a little bit more functionality in the future, particularly once we figure out how to insert additional, the portraits for the Pokemon Center and Pokédex, as well as sprites for all the games in the future. And that should be everything for now. Have fun making your stuff.